everyone. Thank you for joining in to this Kosmo Campfire regarding the scheduler. My name is Lexi and I am on the customer success team. I've been with Aprika a little over 3 years and in the Salesforce ecosystem a little over 5 years now. And I'm based in the United States. On the agenda today, we will be demoing the scheduler feature and really reviewing how it can help with resource capacity. Now, our main objectives for this demo is to understand the various views available on the scheduler and how to navigate it, and then identify how to apply filters, update the settings, and control polling and pagination. And then we'll also identify how to view role utilization. So let's go ahead and jump into the demo. If you have any questions, please feel free to add them into the chat or in the Q&A section, and I will be happy to answer them over the call. All right. So the first thing I want to review before we jump over to the scheduler would be the polling and pagination settings, and this is going to be found in your control pad of the mission control console. So this will allow you to load the data in batches, so if you're viewing a lot of resources or you have a lot of projects and things like that, it won't cause the system to error out and it will fully load, so it'll just poll. You can set the batch quantity here after the setting is enabled. And then the next is the pagination. So this will allow you to flip through a couple of pages of roles, and you'll just need to set your role quantity. So how many roles can you view on each page? All right, so I set mine to 10 and I'm going to go ahead and save those. Now to navigate to the scheduler, you can do so from the management pad. And this will be your standalone scheduler so that you can review multiple projects. If you view the scheduler on a single project, then it's going to be filtered automatically. So going straight into the project overview component. You can also choose to add the scheduler component onto page layouts. There's a feature called Scheduler Anywhere. You'll want to make sure your record is able to, your object that you're pulling the scheduler feature onto can view action records or is capable of pulling data from your actions and projects. So again, this is an example of the scheduler being filtered to just this specific project we're viewing. Let's go ahead and jump to the standalone scheduler, and that would be from the tab. When it initially loads, it's not going to have any filters on it unless I've pre-saved filters. Okay, so there are two main views on the scheduler, the timeline view and then the monthly calendar view. Starting off with the timeline view, you have a couple of different tabs here. You can choose to use the action page to modify your actions and review information regarding to the owners assigned to those tasks and the contributors, or you can view other details regarding the hours. So there's a lot on this page layout, so we're going to start at the upper right corner and kind of work our way down on the features that are available. There is a role search feature that has been added as a part of one of our recent releases, so that you can type in a string text and hit enter and the display will filter. You can also filter by this funnel here. The X symbol will clear any filters that you have entered in. And then you can also pre-save filters. So let's say I want to set a pre-save filter of my developer team for when I'm reviewing their capacity. What I'll do is I'll change this to new filter and then select create. And then I'm going to establish a naming convention. You can also decide if this filter will be available to all users or available to a specific set of teams. I'm going to go ahead and assign this to all users. So I have my filter criteria in here, or I gotta put my filter criteria in here and then select create. Alright, so once my pre-saved filter is entered in, I can go ahead and select filter. And then just to take a look at some of the other options while we're in this display, you have your programs, projects, categories, project status, action name, contains. So this is another one of those keyword searching. Status, roles, skills, proficiencies, teams, display, and you can choose when displaying roles to only view roles that are assigned or to view all roles available. And then again, you have the option to add custom fields to filter by. I'm going to cancel this filter so that I can continue to see the data that's shown on the display. Next, let's take a look at the settings. So with our settings, you have the ability to modify the view of hours. So depending on the view selected, if I have an hourly view selected, I need to establish how many days I would like to see on my display at one time. So when I'm in the hours view, I will view 24 hours, so just one day. When I'm in the days view, I would like to view 2 weeks at a time, so that'll be 14 visible days. If I'm set to the weeks view, I want to view 4 weeks at a time. And then if I'm using the months view, I want to be able to view 2 months. When you are in the hours view, you can also select a certain time frame. So if my business is only open from 8 to 5, or the hours are going to be assigned during those times, then I can also choose to view that here as well. You have the option to review standard Salesforce tasks and events on your page here in the display. And those are also records that will be able to show in your Salesforce calendar. So for setting your hours shading green breakpoint percentage, this percentage value will be used on the total hours view, or the hours total view. If the sum of hours scheduled for a role is less or equal to this value, the cell will be shaded green. And then for our red breakpoint, this will be used on the hours total view if the sum of hours scheduled for a role is greater or equal to this value. That cell would be shaded red, and anything in between will be amber. Next, we have the ability to display or hide the scheduled and remaining hours and utilization. You also have the ability to disable the collapsible sections. And we now have a section hours summary. So that's what's displayed here at each line item in our display. Next, you have the option to select where your hours are sourced from, if they're from the total hours scheduled, total hours remaining. You also have projected hours remaining and total hours projected to display your hours source. Last few settings here, you have the ability to display all holidays. So when this is selected, if I have a holiday that is not approved, it's going to show in an amber color. Once the holiday is approved, it's going to show in a red color. Otherwise, you can choose to only view approved holidays. Next, you have your color reference. So you do have the ability to set a color for each project in the project color field, or use the Gantt chart status value settings to establish a color. And the next cool thing is that we can add bar text into the action and project bar. So this is going to allow you to just pick a field that you would like to display in the text here. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and save that. Alright, so we have our filter here. We have all of our settings. You do have the ability to export this scheduler to a PDF file. Once you click that, you'll just select your file name, maybe add a header or footer text, and then you are good to go. So getting back into this upper right corner here, once you're making changes in the scheduler, and we'll display how to do that in just a moment, you'll want to make sure you're saving your records. And then you have the ability to jump to a specific time frame here. So I might want to view from the beginning of this week, so I can select that time frame. I can use the large back arrow to jump back 7 days. I can use the smaller lined arrow to jump back 1 day. I have the today button, so it'll jump to the current date, and then again forward 1 day and forward 7 days. Alright, so I will review the action tab last. It is the one that has the most of features, and we'll just breeze by these other tabs quickly. So starting off with the financial tab. This tab is going to show you the breakdown of hours scheduled, value billable across all of the actions that are scheduled to be worked during this particular timeline that is being viewed. And the shading of the cells are reflected off of the breakpoints that we set up in the settings. And if the user viewing the scheduler doesn't have field level security across the hours scheduled value billable field, they will not see information here. So this view will not have values. Next, we have our hours detailed view. This will show you the breakdown of hours assigned to each role, categorized into the following areas. You'll have billable hours, non-billable, Salesforce events, and holidays. And this tab is only available with the role group by. So you can see master team is grayed out. The hourly view is also not supported in this view. Next, we have our hours total tab. This will display the number of hours scheduled for each role in a color-coded view of the current timeline and day range. So this is going to be good to see any hotspots and any hours that are 50% less than 50% of the resources capacity is scheduled will appear in green. Between 50 and 85% of the hours scheduled will appear in amber color, and over 85% of the hours scheduled for that particular day is going to be displayed red. This view can only be viewed in the role group by as well. So we can see there's a little bit of over allocation here, and we'll show how to resolve that. Now, before we jump over to our action tab, we're just quickly going to view the project tab. So this one is read only. I'm not going to be able to make any changes here. I do still see my holidays and summaries. However, I am viewing the bar line based off of project name and detail. So you see I'm getting some of my project detail here. All right, so let's finally go ahead and jump into that action view. Now this view is going to allow you to reassign records, create new action records, and edit if need be. The first way to see existing details, you can either hover over an action line and you have the ability to see hover details. This information can be monitored or managed from the scheduler hover field set on the action record so that you can add any custom fields if there's certain information that you want to see there. And then you also have that for your project level as well. Alright, so if I double click on an action bar, I get the full action details summary. I can make changes here, so if I am to make any changes, after hitting my edit pencil, you'll need to make sure you save. You can delete records, view your issue manager, and then you also have your resource assignment wizard if you need to make a resource change here. Okay. Next tab we have would be the related checklist items and related user stories. And then you also have chatter for your action, milestone, and project level for this tab. So it takes a little second to load in here since I'm doing the webinar, but you can see it's now populated. So let's go ahead and close this tab. If I would like to create new actions, I can just go ahead and drag a new event on the display. You can also just double click into an open space, and you'll want to enter in your details as required. You also have the ability to access the resource assignment wizard in this display in case you need further assistance with assigning your resource. Now you're only going to populate a few details here. Once you get your record created, you can go ahead and double tap and add additional details. Now for the existing action bars on here, in this example, Colin is over allocated. We're going to reschedule those hours by really just dragging that action bar and dropping it for another user. So it looks like those hours followed that specific action. And it looks like we just really need more time for this action. So what I'm going to do is drag the end date of that action and make it a little bit longer to distribute those hours differently. I can also extend the start date for that as well. So I'm looking a little bit better on in terms of allocation as compared to my resource available capacity here. So great drag and drop rescheduling and reassigning. Okay. The next thing we'll want to note in this display would be this left pane or role profile area. So your resources are listed. You can choose to group them by master team. So this is whichever team assignment record they have that is assigned has the master team checkbox marked true. So you can see my resources are now sorted. I can also choose to expand and collapse these sections or expand all and collapse all sections here. And then throughout, you can see that your skill on the Actions tab is available in your hours, days, weeks, and months. So now that I'm done making changes to my action items, I can even show how this would be displayed in maybe like weeks or hours. Okay, and the hours view. And just note how my scale bar here at the top is changing to match this as well. Alright, so let's go back to our days view and finish checking out those roles on the side. So for each role, I have my role profile. This is going to give me more information on their teams and skills, and as you can see, only one of the team assignments can be marked for your master team. You can also make new assignments and skill records from here as well. Next, you have your role chatter. Then you get your breakdown of utilization for your role profile. So with this, your scheduled allocation, that is going to calculate the total contribution for actions contained within the timeline view, and then the hours assigned for capacity on their role or role availability record. The schedule utilization is going to calculate the percentage based for that role on the total contribution divided by the hours per week on their record. The remaining allocation, this is going to calculate the effort remaining for the role based on actions within the timeline plus overdue actions. So one thing you'll want to remember is it will include overdue actions. This calculation is based on the total contribution of effort minus the hours completed by this role on these actions. And then lastly, our remaining utilization calculates the percentage for the role based on the remaining effort divided by the hours that they are available for the week. Okay. And then real good view of the hour summary here and how those items were changing color as we were making changes here. So we can see I have not saved my scheduler yet based on this icon, so I'm going to go ahead and save before I jump over to the month tab. Alright, so now my actions are saved and I can go ahead and switch screens to the month tab, and this one's just going to display all of my projects in a calendar type view with the action name. Alright. Alright, and that would be all of the settings for the scheduler. If you have any other questions, please feel free to add them into the chat. I am not seeing any questions yet. And while we're waiting for those questions to come in, I do want to make a note that we now have our learning portal live. So if you would like to take an actual course with modules and units, and there's an organized certification for both an implementation certification and a product expert, which is a bit more extensive, I recommend checking that out on our learning portal. And you also want to check out our release notes. We just had a new release, so further details and a What's New webinar video is available for that release as well. Our next Cosmo Campfire will be on the project overview component, and we hope to see you next month for that campfire. Thanks so much for joining, everyone. Have a wonderful day.